He saved the alien king's daughter. The reward was beyond his imagination. He was not rich, not famous, and not part of any grand military fleet. Elias worked as a salvage operator, finding and recovering lost or abandoned spacecraft, mining equipment, and other valuable technology scattered across the stars. It was dangerous work, but it paid enough to keep him in decent ships and to fund his small but comfortable lifestyle. This morning, Elias' small vessel, the Starhawk, drifted lazily near the planet Viron 5, a rocky world with deep canyons and harsh winds that could strip metal in minutes if unprepared. The planet was mostly abandoned, left behind by corporate mining companies years ago after a series of violent quakes made the mining operations too costly. But Elias had an eye for hidden treasures, and he knew that the abandoned mining colonies often held forgotten riches, or at the very least, parts that could be resold for a good price. He adjusted the controls, scanning the nearby canyon for any energy signatures. His fingers moved quickly across the holographic panel, pulling up old maps and overlaying them with recent scans. The canyon walls were jagged, crisscrossed with veins of metal and crystal. Normally, Elias would have been content to simply locate a rich vein of rare ore, but today, his sensors picked up something unusual. A faint distress signal flickered in the readings. It wasn't the usual automated beacon left behind by mining equipment. It had a strange rhythm, almost like a call for help. Elias frowned. "Now that's not ordinary," he muttered to himself. Curiosity had always been both his blessing and his curse. Most people would have ignored a weak, unreliable signal in this dangerous area. Elias didn't. He had a habit of investigating the unusual, of following the unknown where others feared to tread. He activated the hover stabilizers and steered the Starhawk closer to the source. The canyon below was narrower than expected, its jagged rocks jutting like broken teeth from the surface. The signal came from a deep crystal cavern, a place where no human should have ventured. The crystals glowed faintly with an inner light, reflecting strange colors that made the cavern look almost magical. But Elias didn't have time to admire the beauty. The distress signal grew stronger as he approached, and soon he saw her. A young alien, no older than 20 by human standards, was trapped under a heavy crystal slab. Her skin shimmered faintly, tinged with silver and soft blue, and her eyes glowed with a deep golden hue that seemed to reflect the light of the cavern itself. She struggled against the weight, and Elias could see the fear in her eyes. It was fear, yes, but also a kind of stubborn determination. Elias knew immediately that she wasn't human. The features were humanoid, but too elegant, too perfect, too different. Something in her presence felt royal, dignified, and the distress signal, now clear, carried a silent urgency he could almost hear in his chest. He activated the grappling arm on the Starhawk and carefully maneuvered it to lift the heavy crystal. He had to work slowly. One wrong move and both of them could die. The alien girl's eyes never left him, and he felt a strange sense of connection, as if she understood that he was her only chance. "Almost got it," he whispered to himself, sweat forming on his forehead. He adjusted the controls, feeling the strain of the weight, the resistance of the crystal. Finally, with a loud crack, the slab shifted just enough for her to pull herself free. She stumbled out, and Elias caught her before she fell to the cavern floor. "Are you okay?" he asked, using the simplest words he could. Her voice was soft, melodic, but firm. "I thank you," she said in a strange accent that he could barely understand. Her eyes studied him carefully, as if weighing his worth. "You saved me." Elias smiled, wiping dirt and sweat from his brow. "No one should be trapped under falling crystals. That's just bad luck and bad timing." Her gaze softened, but only slightly. Elias noticed the elegance of her movements, the careful way she held herself, as if trained from childhood to maintain dignity even in danger. Something told him she was important, perhaps more than anyone he had ever met. "I am Princess Lyria," she said, her voice calm despite the situation. "I am the daughter of the Zyron king." Elias blinked. The Zyron Empire, he had read about them in old galactic reports. They were an advanced civilization, one of the most powerful and mysterious in this sector of space. Humans rarely encountered them directly, and now here was a princess injured and alone depending on him. I see," he said carefully. "Well, princess, I guess you owe me a story later." She gave a faint, almost amused smile, but she didn't reply. Instead, she gestured toward the exit of the cavern. We must go, they will come. Elia's heart sank slightly. They, who's coming? She didn't answer, only led him to a narrow passage hidden by jagged crystals. Elias followed, carefully maneuvering through the tight spaces. He had no idea what kind of danger they faced. Mercenaries, pirates, rival alien factions. He only knew that whatever it was serious. As they reached the surface, the sky above Viewership 5 was a swirl of orange and purple clouds, lit by the twin suns of the system. Elia's ship was nearby, and he helped her aboard. She moved with surprising agility, almost as if she had trained for survival despite her royal upbringing. "Why were you there alone?" Elias asked cautiously as he prepared the ship for takeoff. I was exploring," she said, choosing her words carefully. "I sought knowledge." "My people forbid it." Her eyes darkened slightly. "But curiosity cannot be stopped," Elias chuckled. "Sounds familiar." As the Starhawk lifted off, leaving the dangerous canyon behind, Elias began to realize the enormity of what had just happened. He had rescued not just an alien, but someone of immense importance. The Zyron Empire was known to reward or punish those who interfered in their affairs, and now he had become part of their story, whether he liked it or not. The journey back to safe space was tense. Elias kept a careful eye on the scanners, looking for any unusual ships or energy signatures. Princess Lyria remained silent, her gaze fixed on the stars outside the viewport. He respected her silence. Sometimes words were unnecessary, especially when danger lingered like a shadow. After hours of careful navigation, they approached the outer rim of the system, where patrol ships were less likely to appear. Elias allowed himself a small moment of relief, though he knew it was temporary. "You've got to tell me more about yourself," he said finally, trying to break the silence. She looked at him, golden eyes studying him as if deciding how much to reveal. "I am Lyria. My father rules the Zyron Empire. We seek peace, but some do not wish for peace. They would see me harmed." Elias nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. This was bigger than any salvage mission he had ever undertaken, bigger than any danger he had faced. And yet he couldn't help but feel a spark of excitement. There was something thrilling about being at the center of something so vast, so important. As the Starhawk drifted further from Viewership 5, Elias knew that this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of wonders and dangers beyond imagining. And somehow, in the middle of it all, he had found himself a hero in a story he had never expected to be part of. Princess Lyria, though still wary and cautious, had survived because of him. And perhaps, just perhaps, humans had something unique to offer in a galaxy that had never truly known their courage, their ingenuity, or their heart. Elias leaned back in his chair, staring at the stars stretching into infinity. "Well," he whispered to himself, "looks like things are about to get interesting." And with that thought, the Starhawk set its course for the unknown, carrying a human and an alien princess whose fates were now forever intertwined. The Starhawk glided silently through the dark expanse of space, carrying Captain Elias Kane and Princess Lyria further from Viewership 5. And the dangers of the Crystal Canyon. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, each one a bright pinprick against the black canvas of the universe. But the peace of space was deceptive. Elias knew that danger often followed where hope and courage led. He glanced at Princess Lyria, who remained seated near the control panel, her golden eyes reflecting the soft glow of the ship's console. She had remained quiet for most of the journey, but he could sense her curiosity. She was studying him as if trying to understand the human who had risked everything to save her. "Are you always this reckless?" she finally asked, her voice calm but with a hint of amusement. Elias smiled wryly. "Reckless, maybe, but sometimes you have to take risks. Otherwise, nothing new ever happens," she nodded slowly. "I see. Humans are different, brave even when fear is present." Elias felt a small surge of pride. It was rare for anyone, let alone a Zyron royal, to recognize human courage in such a direct way. "We have to be. Space isn't forgiving." Their conversation was cut short when the Starhawk's sensors picked up unusual energy readings. Small blips appeared on the console, moving fast, and their trajectory was heading straight for the ship. "Uninvited visitors," Elias muttered, eyes narrowing. He immediately activated the ship's defensive systems, though he preferred brains over brute force. Most of the attackers' ships were smaller than his own, but numerous and fast. They were likely mercenaries, hired by unknown enemies who had caught wind of the princess's disappearance. Can you help me? Lyria asked, her voice steady but urgent. Elias shook his head. You've got to stay calm, I'll handle this, but keep alert. He maneuvered the Starhawk through the asteroids that dotted the nearby sector. He knew these rocks well, having navigated countless fields like this on previous salvage missions. Human intuition and quick thinking became his greatest weapons. One misstep could mean the end, but Elias had never been afraid of a challenge. The attackers followed relentlessly, firing pulses of energy that made small arcs across the Starhawk's hull. Elias dodged skillfully, diving between rocks, banking sharply to avoid collisions. The attackers adjusted quickly, but they underestimated the humans' ability to think on the fly. Humans are clever, Lyria said quietly, almost to herself. Elias heard her but didn't respond immediately. She continued, in the Empire, cleverness is valued, but bravery above all. You have both. Elias grinned, though the situation was tense. Thanks, you might just make a good partner in trouble, he said. The pursuit grew more dangerous as the Starhawk entered a dense asteroid belt. Small rocks tumbled unpredictably, making navigation even trickier. The attackers pressed closer, their weapons firing in rapid bursts. Elias' hands moved like lightning across the controls, adjusting shields, thrusters, and navigation systems simultaneously. Suddenly, he had an idea. He activated the Starhawk's gravity pulse generator, a device he had salvaged months earlier from an abandoned research station. The pulse would create a brief gravitational distortion strong enough to push small asteroids into unpredictable paths. Elias aimed carefully, releasing the pulse into the heart of the belt. The effect was immediate. Rocks shifted violently, scattering in all directions. Several of the pursuing ships collided with asteroids, their hulls groaning under the impact. Elias used the chaos to slip through a narrow passage, leaving the remaining pursuers behind. Lyria looked at him with awe. You used the rocks as weapons. Elias shrugged. Not weapons exactly, just tools. Everything in space can be used if you know how. She studied him thoughtfully. Your people are strong in ways we rarely see, bravery, creativity, and loyalty. Elias felt a warmth in his chest. He had rescued her because it was the right thing to do, not for recognition or reward. But hearing a Xiron princess acknowledge human virtues made him realize that humans had qualities the galaxy had yet to fully understand. After several tense hours, the Starhawk managed to put a significant distance between them and the pursuers. Elias set a course for a nearby neutral outpost, hoping to rest and refuel. The outpost, orbiting a small, uninhabited planet, was a safe place, rarely visited by larger fleets. As they approached, Lyria spoke again. Why did you save me? Her voice was soft, filled with genuine curiosity. Elias looked at her, choosing his words carefully. Because no one deserves to be trapped and alone, and because I believe everyone has a chance to do something good. Today, that meant helping you. She nodded slowly. Most of my people would not risk themselves for a stranger. You are different. Elias smiled. I've always liked being different. At the outpost, they docked the Starhawk and took a moment to breathe. Supplies were restocked, minor repairs were made, and Elias checked the ship's systems thoroughly. The threat of the pursuers had faded, at least for now, but he knew this was only temporary. Whoever wanted Lyria would not give up easily. During the downtime, Lyria shared more about herself and her world. She described the Xiron Empire, a civilization of floating cities, advanced technology, and ancient traditions. Humans were barely known to her people, often regarded as curious but unpredictable. And yet she had learned firsthand that humans could be brave, clever, and unexpectedly resourceful. Elias listened intently, fascinated by her descriptions. Your world, it's beautiful and complex. I can see why others would want to control it. Lyria's eyes darkened slightly. Yes, there are those who wish to exploit it. My father, the king, works to protect the empire, but there are enemies within and beyond. Elias understood. Danger often came from more than just enemies outside. Internal struggles could be just as deadly. He realized that his role in this story was just beginning. The journey ahead would test not only his courage, but also his ability to navigate a world far beyond anything he had ever known. As the day passed, the Starhawk prepared to depart. Elias had plotted a course that would take them through lesser-known regions of space, avoiding main travel routes where more pursuers could be waiting. Yet, he knew that clever enemies might anticipate this move. The galaxy was vast, but it was also full of those willing to hunt. Before leaving, Lyria approached him. "Captain Elias, you have saved my life. I do not know how to repay you." Elias shook his head. "No repayment needed, but you should know I won't let anyone harm you." "That's my promise." She looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting the dim light of the outpost. "Your courage is extraordinary. Perhaps humans are more capable than my people realize." Elias smiled, feeling a quiet pride. "Maybe, but it's not just courage. It's thinking ahead, taking risks, and never giving up. That's what humans do." The Starhawk lifted off, leaving the outpost behind. Elias kept his focus on the scanners, alert for any sign of pursuit. For hours, the journey was quiet, the only sounds the hum of the engines and the occasional beep of the navigation system. But the quiet was deceptive. Space never remained quiet for long. As night fell over the remote regions of space, a small fleet of shadowy ships appeared on the long-range sensors. They were fast, sleek, and dangerous, moving with precision that suggested professional training. Elias' heart tightened. "Looks like the fun isn't over," he muttered. He adjusted the controls, preparing for what would be the next challenge. Lyria stood by his side, calm but ready, her earlier fear replaced by determination. Together they would face the unknown, a human and a princess bound by circumstance, relying on each other's strengths to survive. Elias glanced at her, a determined smile on his face. "Whatever comes next, we'll handle it. Humans don't back down, and neither will you." Lyria's smile was faint but genuine. "Then let us face it together." And with that, the Starhawk accelerated into the vast unknown, carrying both human and princess into a galaxy filled with danger, mystery, and the promise of extraordinary adventures yet to come. The Starhawk glided silently through the outer reaches of space, leaving the danger of pursuit behind. Captain Elias Kane kept his eyes on the stars ahead, but in his heart, he knew that the real challenge had only just begun. Princess Lyria's homeland, the Xiron Empire, lay ahead, a civilization more advanced than anything he had ever imagined, with floating cities, energy shields, and knowledge centuries beyond human understanding. Lyria remained at the navigation console, her golden eyes reflecting a mixture of anticipation and worry. Elias noticed the slight tension in her posture. "Are you nervous?" he asked. She hesitated for a moment. "Yes, and proud. You saved me, and now you come to my home." "My people may doubt you, but I will speak for you," Elias smiled. "I appreciate that, but you know humans are used to being underestimated. We survive by proving ourselves." She gave a faint smile, though her expression remained serious. "Then we shall see if your people survive here as well." As the Starhawk approached the Xiron system, the planet below came into view. It was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. Cities floated in the atmosphere, connected by shimmering bridges of light. Energy fields surrounded each city like delicate, glowing bubbles. Ships of all shapes and sizes moved through the skies with precise coordination, a dance of advanced technology. Elias' jaw dropped slightly. "Incredible! I've never seen anything like it." Lyria nodded. "This is my home and my father's domain. The Xiron king rules wisely, but some still challenge him, and outsiders are rarely welcomed." Elias took a deep breath. He had faced danger before, but this was different. Here he would be judged not by his courage alone, but by his intelligence, his honor, and his ability to earn trust. Yet he felt ready. Humanity had survived against the odds countless times. Surely they could navigate this new world with the same resilience. The Starhawk descended carefully toward one of the largest floating cities, its surface shimmering with energy. The docking bay was vast, able to accommodate ships of immense size, yet it remained elegant and orderly. As the Starhawk touched down, a group of Xiron guards approached. Their uniforms were sleek, silver, and accented with glowing lines, and their weapons looked more like tools of precision than instruments of destruction. Princess Lyria stepped forward. "Father Captain Elias Kane saved my life. He deserves your respect." The guards regarded Elias with suspicion but allowed him to pass. As they moved through the docking bay, Elias noticed the elegance and sophistication of everything around him. Machines floated effortlessly, holographic displays projected data in midair, and small robots moved quickly to perform maintenance tasks. It was a level of technology beyond anything humans had achieved. They were led to the throne chamber, a magnificent hall that seemed to float above the city itself. Light cascaded through the transparent walls, reflecting off intricate crystalline structures. At the center sat the Xiron king, tall and regal, his eyes glowing with the same golden hue as his daughter's. He studied Elias carefully, as if weighing every detail of the human before him. "Captain Elias Kane," the king's voice resonated with calm authority, "you have rescued my daughter from danger. That is no small feat, yet before I can honor you, you must prove your worth to the Empire." Elias nodded respectfully. "I understand, Your Majesty." "I am ready to face any challenge." The king's eyes softened slightly. "Good. Intelligence, loyalty, and honor are what we value most. If you can demonstrate these qualities, you may earn the trust of the Xiron people." The trials began immediately. Elias was first taken to the Chamber of Logic, a room filled with complex puzzles, shifting platforms, and holographic simulations designed to test problem-solving skills. Each challenge seemed impossible, requiring careful observation, quick thinking, and precise timing. Elias approached the first puzzle cautiously. It was a series of floating energy orbs that had to be aligned in a specific sequence. At first, he tried random combinations, but nothing worked. Then he paused, observing patterns and calculating probabilities in his mind. Slowly, deliberately, he adjusted the orbs, and with a soft hum, they locked into place, unlocking the next section of the chamber. Lyria watched from the side, impressed. "Humans think differently. They see solutions in ways we cannot always predict." Elias smiled, not taking his eyes off the next challenge. A set of laser barriers blocked his path, moving in unpredictable patterns. Timing and patience were key. Using careful observation and split-second decisions, he navigated through the beams, moving faster than the sensors anticipated, reaching the other side safely. By the end of the chamber, even the Xiron observers were nodding in approval. "He is clever," Lyria whispered. "Truly clever." Next came the test of loyalty, where Elias had to make choices under pressure, deciding between what was easy and what was right. Holographic simulations presented scenarios where he could gain personal advantage, but at the cost of others. Each time, Elias chose the path that preserved life and fairness, proving his integrity to the Xiron evaluators. Finally, the challenge of courage tested him in ways he had not expected. Simulated threats of collapsing structures, energy storms, and hostile forces surrounded him. He had to lead a team of virtual Xiron soldiers through the dangers, ensuring that all were safe while completing the mission. Elias relied on human instinct, improvisation, and quick thinking. Each decision saved virtual lives, impressing the judges further. After hours of testing, the trials concluded. Elias, exhausted but proud, stood before the Xiron king once more. Lyria approached her father, speaking earnestly. "Father, he has shown honor, courage, and intelligence. He deserves your respect." The king studied Elias, his golden eyes piercing yet thoughtful. Finally, he spoke. "Captain Elias Kane, you have demonstrated qualities that even the wisest among us admire. You have risked your life to save another, solved challenges beyond expectation, and shown unwavering loyalty. You are worthy of trust." Elias bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only acted as any human should by helping those in need." The king's expression softened. "Indeed, that is what makes humans remarkable. Your people have potential beyond what many in the galaxy believe. Courage, ingenuity, loyalty, these are rare qualities, and you embody them fully." Lyria stepped forward, her eyes shining. "Captain, you have not only saved my life, but you have also shown the true value of humans. My people should know of this." Elias smiled modestly. "I am glad to have been of help, but it is your courage too, Princess. You survived, and your faith in me made this possible." The king nodded. "Let this be a lesson to all. Sometimes the smallest actions have the greatest impact. Humans, though new to our realm, have proven themselves today." As the ceremony concluded, Elias felt a sense of accomplishment unlike anything he had experienced before. He had not sought glory, but here, in the heart of the Xiron Empire, he realized that human qualities, courage, ingenuity, and moral strength, were as powerful as any technology. That night, Lyria invited Elias to walk with her above the floating city. Lights shimmered below, and the air was crisp with the scent of energy and life. "You have changed my view of humans," she said softly. "I believed them capable, but I never imagined someone like you." Elias laughed quietly. "I'm far from perfect. But humans, we rise to the challenge when needed, and sometimes we surprise even ourselves." She smiled, her golden eyes reflecting the glow of the city. Then perhaps humans and Xyron could be allies, friends in ways our people have never imagined. Elias nodded. I would like that, and maybe together we can face whatever dangers await. The galaxy is full of challenges, but also opportunities. As the night passed over the Xyron capital, Elias felt a deep sense of purpose. He had entered this world as a stranger, a human in a galaxy that often underestimated his kind. Now, he had proven that humans were clever, brave, and capable of great deeds, and yet he knew this was only the beginning. Greater challenges lay ahead, challenges that would test not only his courage but the bonds he had formed with Princess Lyria and the Xyron people. The universe was vast, and its wonders and dangers were endless. But Elias Kane, a simple human with extraordinary heart, was ready. For the first time, he realized that humans were not merely survivors. They were creators, problem solvers, and sometimes heroes in a galaxy that had yet to understand them. And somewhere in the distance, beyond the floating cities and glowing energy bridges, new threats were already stirring, unaware that a human had arrived who would challenge the galaxy's expectations in ways no one could have imagined. Captain Elias Kane had begun to settle into the rhythm of the Xyron Empire. After successfully completing the trials in the royal court, he was treated with respect, though some of the council members still regarded him with cautious curiosity. Princess Lyria had grown more comfortable with his presence, often walking with him above the glowing floating city or discussing matters of strategy and exploration. Yet, despite this apparent peace, Elias knew the galaxy was rarely calm for long. One morning, while monitoring the city's defensive network, Lyria noticed a subtle disturbance in the energy readings. Elias, she said, her voice low, there is something unusual approaching. It feels different, more dangerous. Elias leaned over the holographic display, scanning the distant reaches of space. At first, nothing seemed visible, but as the sensors adjusted, a small fleet of ships emerged from the shadows. They were sleek, dark, and unfamiliar, clearly not part of any fleet allied with the Xyron Empire. He recognized the signs immediately. These were experienced attackers, trained to strike with precision. They're coming for you, he said calmly, though his mind raced. And they're not here to negotiate. Lyria's eyes narrowed. My father, the king, must be warned, but we cannot wait. Elias nodded. Then we act now, let's prepare. The Starhawk was quickly readied for a defensive sortie. Lyria insisted on joining him, not as a passenger but as a participant, helping coordinate communications and guiding ships with her knowledge of Xyron systems. Together, they moved to intercept the fleet before it reached the capital. As they approached the attackers, Elias studied their formation. Unlike most enemies he had faced, these ships moved with strategy rather than chaos. That suggested a commander with experience, someone who understood tactics and sought to exploit weaknesses. Elias' human instincts kicked in. We need to use unpredictability. They expect conventional tactics, but humans improvise. Watch carefully. Using the Starhawk's advanced maneuvering systems, he led the small Xyron fleet into a dense asteroid field nearby. The attackers followed, confident they could outmaneuver the slower Xyron ships. But Elias had prepared carefully. Small gravitational pulses, combined with precise thruster bursts, created sudden shifts in asteroid positions, sending the enemy fleet into confusion. Several ships collided or had to retreat to avoid damage. Lyria watched, clearly impressed. Your people think differently. You create opportunities from obstacles. Elias smiled, though focused on the controls. That's humans. We survive by solving problems in ways others don't expect. But the threat was far from over. The remaining enemy ships regrouped and adjusted their approach, now focusing on isolating the Starhawk from the fleet. Elias realized this was no random attack. They wanted Lyria specifically. Princess, he said firmly, they're not attacking the city yet. They want you. Stay calm, follow my instructions, and we'll outsmart them. She nodded, her golden eyes steady. I trust your judgment. Using the Starhawk's advanced scanners, Elias identified a cluster of nearby energy mines, abandoned from an old battle. With quick thinking, he programmed the mines to drift into the attacker's path. As the enemy ships moved closer, the mines detonated in precise patterns, forcing the attackers to scatter. Impressive, Lyria whispered. You manipulate the battlefield like a strategist. Elias grinned. Strategy, timing, and a little luck, that's how humans handle danger. Despite their success, One ship, faster and more agile than the others, broke through the defenses and headed straight for the Starhawk. Its energy beams struck the shields, creating sparks and shaking the vessel. Ilias acted quickly, using a sharp evasive maneuver to dodge the fire. He then fired the Starhawk's energy pulse, temporarily disabling the enemy ship systems and sending it spinning into a nearby asteroid. The remaining attackers retreated, unable to match the combination of human ingenuity and Xiron technology. Ilias breathed a sigh of relief, though he knew this would not be the end. Whoever had sent these ships would not give up easily. Back in the city, the Xiron king summoned Ilias and Lyria to the royal council. "This attack," the king said gravely, "was unexpected, but it confirms what we feared. There are those in the galaxy who will stop at nothing to seize control of our empire. You, Captain Ilias, have shown that humans are not only brave but also clever. Your actions saved my daughter and prevented disaster today." Ilias bowed. "I only did what anyone would do to protect life, but the threat remains. We must be vigilant." Lyria stepped forward. "Father, we can use Elias's knowledge. Humans approach problems differently. Perhaps we can learn from him." The council murmured, clearly intrigued. Ilias realized that humans had an opportunity to teach and lead in a way that no one expected. His role had expanded beyond rescue. It now involved strategy, leadership, and innovation. In the following days, Ilias worked closely with Xiron engineers and strategists, combining human tactical thinking with their advanced technology. Together, they developed new defensive strategies, optimized energy shields, and trained the city's fleet to respond in creative, unpredictable ways. Lyria observed and assisted, often acting as the bridge between human and Xiron logic. During one training exercise, a simulated threat was released. The human Xiron team responded with efficiency, using maneuvers and tactics Ilias had devised. The result was flawless coordination, and even the skeptical council members nodded in approval. "Humans may indeed have a role to play in our empire," one council member admitted. Lyria smiled quietly. "I have always believed in the value of courage and creativity. Ilias has proven it." One evening, as the city's lights shimmered below, Ilias and Lyria stood on a balcony overlooking the floating metropolis. The stars stretched endlessly above them, a reminder that the universe was vast and full of unknown dangers. "You have changed things," Lyria said softly. "My people will see humans differently now." Ilias looked at her thoughtful. "Humans are not perfect, but we rise to challenges and we never give up. That's what makes us strong, and it's what makes life worth living." She nodded. "Then together we can face whatever comes next. The galaxy is full of dangers, but also possibilities." Just then, the Starhawk's sensors detected another unusual energy signature, faint but unmistakable. Ilias frowned. "Looks like our next challenge is already on its way." Lyria's eyes narrowed, golden light reflecting determination. "Then we must be ready, together." And so, Captain Ilias Kane, a human far from Earth, and Princess Lyria, heir of the Xiron Empire, prepared for the battles yet to come. They had faced one threat, but the galaxy held countless others. Yet, in the heart of the Xiron Empire, humans had proven something extraordinary. Their courage, creativity, and unwavering determination could change the course of events, even among the stars. The city below glowed in peaceful light, but Ilias knew that vigilance, intelligence, and courage would always be necessary. Humanity had a role to play in the universe, and he intended to show just how powerful that role could be. As night settled over the floating city, Ilias felt a quiet pride. He was no longer just a human stranger in an alien world. He was a hero, a strategist, and a symbol of what humans could achieve, even against threats that seemed beyond imagination. And somewhere in the darkness of space, new enemies watched, unaware that the small human they underestimated might soon change the fate of an entire empire. The Xiron Empire's floating cities shimmered under the twin suns as Captain Ilias Kane prepared for what he knew would be the ultimate test. The attackers from beyond the system had returned, larger, faster, and more determined than before. This time they sought not just Princess Lyria, but the throne itself. They intended to destabilize the Empire and seize control. Ilias stood beside Lyria at the command platform of the Starhawk, now fully integrated with the Empire's advanced systems. Over the past weeks, he had helped train the Xiron fleet, devised new strategies, and improved the city's defenses using human ingenuity combined with Xiron technology. Now, every skill, every decision he had made would be put to the ultimate test. "They're approaching faster than before," Lyria said, her voice calm but firm. "They will not hesitate to destroy everything." Elias studied the holographic display, noting the attackers' formation and speed. "We can stop them," he said confidently, "but we have to be smart. Not just force, we'll use strategy, timing, and our knowledge of the city to outmaneuver them." The Xiron King appeared at Elia's side, his expression serious but trusting. "Captain," he said, "the fate of the Empire may rest in your hands. My daughter, our people, and our cities rely on your judgment. You have earned our trust, but now you must lead." Elias nodded. "I won't let you down, Your Majesty. We fight not just for survival, but for the future of your people, and for humanity's potential in this galaxy." With that, the Starhawk moved forward, leading the Xiron fleet toward the approaching enemy ships. The battle began with the sudden flash of energy pulses across the sky, each side testing the other. The attackers were skilled, striking with precision, but Elias anticipated their moves, directing the fleet to exploit every opening. He devised clever traps using abandoned satellites, energy fields, and asteroid debris, turning the environment itself into a weapon. While the attackers expected direct engagement, they found themselves navigating a labyrinth of obstacles and countermeasures. Princess Lyria assisted from the Starhawk's bridge, guiding small squadrons to weak points in the enemy formation. "Captain," she said, "on the left flank, they are trying to surround us." Elias adjusted the fleet's formation. "Lead them into the trap, use the asteroid field and energy barriers, don't let them predict our moves." The Xiron fleet moved like a single organism, perfectly coordinated with Elias' strategies. Ships darted and weaved, exploiting openings created by his human improvisation. One by one, the enemy vessels were forced to retreat, some disabled by energy traps, others entangled in gravitational fields Elias had manipulated using his knowledge of physics. But the leader of the attackers, a massive ship with reinforced shields, charged directly toward the Starhawk. Elias realized this was the final obstacle. If it reached them, the Empire would fall. "Lyria," he said, "we handle this together, trust me." She nodded, her golden eyes unwavering. "I trust you, Captain." Elias engaged the Starhawk's advanced maneuvering thrusters, dodging the enemy's attacks while drawing it closer to a nearby field of floating debris. Using precise calculations, he released a series of energy pulses that destabilized the field, creating a chaotic barrier between the enemy ship and the rest of the fleet. The enemy leader crashed into the debris, its systems overloaded. The remaining attackers, seeing their leader defeated, lost coordination and morale. One by one, they fled the system, leaving the Xiron Empire safe once more. Cheers erupted throughout the city as the Xiron fleet returned. Citizens and council members alike hailed Elias as a hero, the human who had saved the princess and defended the empire. Lyria approached him, her expression a mixture of relief and admiration. "You did it," she said softly. "You saved us all." Elias shook his head with a modest smile. "We did it. Humans, Xiron, together, that's what matters." The Xiron King entered the central chamber to formally honor Elias. "Captain Elias Kane," he declared, "you have not only saved my daughter but also demonstrated qualities that define true greatness. Bravery, intelligence, loyalty, and ingenuity, these are not mere words but actions you embody. For this, I offer you a reward beyond imagination." Elias blinked, unsure what the king meant. "Your Majesty, I do not seek reward. Helping Princess Lyria was reward enough." The king smiled, a rare warmth in his eyes. "And yet, what you are about to receive is more than you could have imagined. Knowledge, technology, and access to our empire's greatest resources are yours. You will return to your people not only as a hero, but as a bridge between our worlds. Humans have much potential, and I wish to see it realized." Elias' heart raced. He had always dreamed of helping humanity reach new heights, but this, access to Xiron technology and knowledge, was beyond anything he had envisioned. "Princess Lyria," the king continued, "you will guide Captain Elias in understanding our technology and ways. Together, you will build alliances and prepare humanity for the challenges and wonders of the universe." Lyria stepped forward, taking Elias' hand in a gesture of friendship and partnership. "Captain, your people have a chance to learn and grow." You have opened doors no one imagined. Elias felt a surge of pride, but also responsibility. This was not merely about recognition, it was about the future of two civilizations working together. I will do my best, he said humbly, for your people and mine. The next days were filled with exploration and learning. Elias studied Xiron technology, from advanced energy systems to faster-than-light navigation techniques. He shared insights with human scientists through secure communications, helping them understand the potential of the new knowledge. Every discovery, every lesson, reinforced the idea that humans could rise to meet challenges no matter how impossible they seemed. During quiet moments, Lyria and Elias often walked through the floating gardens and glowing walkways of the capital city. She shared stories of her childhood, the history of the empire, and the wisdom of her father. In turn, Elias spoke of Earth, humanity's struggles and triumphs, and the resilience that had allowed humans to survive against impossible odds. You have shown my people the true value of humans, Lyria said one evening, gazing at the distant stars. Courage, cleverness, and heart, these are gifts you bring not just to me, but to the galaxy. Elias smiled. Humans, we rise to challenges, we adapt, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. That's what we do. As weeks passed, the Xiron Empire and human representatives began to plan for future collaboration. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and joint explorations were proposed. Elias had become more than a hero. He was a symbol of possibility, proof that humanity's potential was limitless. Finally, the Xiron king called Elias and Lyria to the central throne chamber one last time. "Captain," he said, "you have fulfilled your role beyond expectation. You have saved my daughter, defended my empire, and shown humanity's greatness. The reward I promised is now yours to claim. Use it wisely, and may it benefit both our worlds." Elias bowed deeply. "Thank you, your majesty. I will honor your gift with all my heart." The king gestured, and a chamber opened, revealing a repository of Xiron knowledge. Advanced star maps, energy schematics, faster-than-light navigation systems, and historical records of the galaxy's civilizations. It was more than any human could have imagined. Lyria looked at Elias, her golden eyes shining. "This is more than treasure, this is the future." Elias stepped forward, overwhelmed but determined. He realized that his journey, which began with a simple act of courage, had led to something far greater than he could have imagined. Humanity had a chance to rise, to explore, to learn, and to thrive. And he, a single human, had opened the door. As he looked around the glowing repository, Elias felt a deep sense of purpose. He had saved a life, changed an empire, and created a bridge between two worlds. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and challenges, but humanity's potential was limitless. And somewhere deep in his heart, he knew that this was only the beginning of an incredible journey, for him, for Princess Lyria, and for all of humanity. The stars outside the Xiron capital glimmered like a promise. And Elias Kane, human hero, explorer, and symbol of hope, was ready to embrace it.